Good evening and welcome to the City of Roswell Mayor and City Council meeting for April 25th, 2022. I am Kurt Wilson, Mayor Kurt Wilson, and I'd like to acknowledge the council members present. Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember Lee Hills, Councilmember William Mortland, Councilmember Mike Palermo, and Councilmember Peter Vanstrom. For the record, Councilmember Marcelo Zapata has an excused absence. And the beginning is a tradition that I'd like to start for City Council meetings following my friend and colleague Randy Knighton, who has started a great standing tradition of beginning our committee meetings for residents who come. And I can saying that, you know, often when I come to a council meeting, what is it all about? So I'm going to read to you what a council meeting is about. In accordance with Section Chapter 3.70, the City Code, the City Council shall hold regular public meetings. The purpose of City Council meetings are for the public to participate and speak on agenda items which constitute formal decisions by the elected body. These items are listed on the published agenda, which can be accessed via the city website prior to the meeting. This is a public meeting, and some items require a formal public hearing. A significant and important component of City Council meetings are to hear directly from the residents on the items listed on the agenda. Public comments or questions are essential for the mayor and council to incorporate as we contemplate each decision. Citizens, residents are at the top of our organizational chart, and therefore it is imperative for us to hear from residents in mayor and council meetings. If you would like to speak on an item, I ask that you be a Roswell resident and fill out a comment card, which are located in the very back of the room and at the podium in order to ensure an accurate record of the meeting. We ask, of course, that everyone observe the principles of mutual respect and display the appropriate demeanor during the course of this meeting this evening. As mayor, I am the presiding officer of the meeting and will ensure the orderly exchange of comments, questions, and discussion leading to decision-making by this elected body. I would encourage those in attendance and the viewing audience to visit the city website for meetings, events, and departmental information. You'll also find the Mayor and Council's 100-day plan, which will be updated this evening. We also encourage you to review and participate in the various activities and offerings in this great city. There are a number of events scheduled coming up in the city of Roswell which promote community, physical activity, and leisure as we make Roswell the #1 family community in America. I have the great privilege this evening of inviting from the community, the Roswell Community Mazad, a gentleman from the way of Dayton, Ohio, who's now in Roswell. Ibrahim Kader is going to give us the invocation in the moment of silence. So, Ibrahim, would you come join us, please, sir?
Hello. Normally we begin with recitation of the Quran, but I wanted to just do the prayer in English. I begin in the name of God, the merciful, the benevolent. All praise is due to our Creator, our nurturer, our provider, and our sustainer. O Lord, we thank you for the blessings you have showered upon us. We thank you for all the favors you have provided us through your grace. We thank you for every meal, every piece of clothing, and every breath of air. We thank you for the blessing of companionship, the blessing of guidance, and the blessing of life. O Lord, we thank you. O Lord, we ask you to guide us to that which is pleasing to you, to bestow your mercy on us, and to show us the path of righteousness and make it easy for us to follow. O Lord, forgive our shortcomings and overlook our mistakes. Accept from us whatever we do of kindness and goodness, and make us luminaries and examples of piety for others to follow. O Lord, have mercy on our parents as they have raised us growing up, and make our children and spouses a coolness to our eyes and protect them from harm. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Ibrahim, so much. Please stand for the presentation of colors by the Roswell High School ROTC.
Half left. March. Mark time. March. color guard, halt, left, face, present, arms.
I'd like to call David Young, who's a member of the Roswell Rotary Club and very active with the Roswell Memorial Day Committee, to lead us in the pledge.
If you would, please join me to pledge our great flag and our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Colors. Right. Face. Home half left. March. March time. March. Color guard. Halt. Order. Colors. All up.
Thank you.
Thank you to the high school, the Roswell High School ROTC, and to David Young. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the mayor's report. And I have the great privilege and honor of calling Captain Gary E. Campbell forward for the proclamation. Here in the front, please, sir. I'd also like to know that the family attending tonight concludes Andy Campbell and children, Garrett, Carter, Anderson, and Lawson, Casey and Tim Sable, Dan Campbell, Christy Campbell, Emmett Campbell, Andrew Campbell, and of course, Pam Campbell. Proclamation of the Office of the Mayor, Captain Gary E. Campbell, esteemed veteran of Roswell. Whereas in 1966, Gary E. Campbell graduated from Washington Jefferson College with a degree in chemistry. Upon graduation, Gary was assigned as Army ROTC Second Lieutenant at Fort McClellan, Anniston, Alabama, to serve as Post-Operations Platoon Leader at the Army Chemical School Headquarters, where he oversaw training and visitor orientation. And whereas in 1967, Gary volunteered for Vietnam and was assigned to the 196th Light Infantry Brigade in the Northern Territory of South Vietnam. In addition to brigade duties, Gary served as advisor to Agent Orange deployment in the area of operations. This role ultimately led to Gary acquiring Parkinson's disease, deemed by the United States Department of Veteran Affairs as a Vietnam-related disability, and has also plagued thousands of returning Vietnam veterans. And whereas Gary led the Sniffler technology for the region of northern South Vietnam known as I-Corps, and had to fly in remote areas at treetop height to take air samples to detect the hidden enemy troops in the jungle. The instruments provided data that the enemy was there on the ground, and it was relayed to the support team immediately. These missions included a rescue helicopter to fly at a higher altitude, along with 2 helicopter gunships and 3 jet fighters flying at 35,000 feet. The designated aircrafts were waiting and looking for hot spots, commonly referred to as the enemy, and then proceeded with the mission. And whereas Gary was assigned to multiple roles in his Army career, Brigade Briefing Officer, Tacticals Operation Officer, Brigade Chemical Detachment Commander, and Reserve Infantry Officer under the rank of First Lieutenant. In 1968, Gary was promoted to Captain as Post Chemical Officer and responsible for training infantry recruits at Fort Ord in Monterey, California. And whereas the Army awarded Gary Campbell with the following medals: National Defense Service Medal, Republic Vietnam Campaign Medal, Republic of Vietnam Service Medal, Combat Infantryman Badge, Bronze Star Medal, 3 air medals for having flown over 250 combat hours, Army Commendation Medal, and non-crew member flight wings. And whereas we remember the strength of our community and nation is in our collective bond to a spirit of service, and that there is no higher calling than those who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Now, therefore, I, Kurt M. Wilson, Mayor of the City of Roswell, do hereby name Captain Gary E. Campbell, an esteemed veteran of Roswell, and call upon all our citizens to recognize his outstanding service to his country and our community.
I'm at a loss for words, but not really. First of all, thank you for such a great tradition that you've started, Mayor Wilson, to honor the vets. What was surprising when it first came to my attention just 10 days ago or so is that I used to think growing up with, in my era, with World War II vets and Korean War vets, and thinking about how well they served and living with them and their kids every day. And now here I am. I can't believe how old I am. These folk were old. But anyhow, thank you for all the blessings that we all get from the military that serve us every day around the world. And let's support them in any way we can.
We want to get some pictures with you.
Okay.
Come on down, Council, and we'll get your family afterwards.
Gary.
Yeah. Probably want all the family, right? Let's get all these guys.
Yeah, we're sure most of us. Get a good picture of the teenagers.
Proud to know you. Thank you for being here tonight.
It's an honor.
Thank you, sir.
Robin, who's the other one go to? You know, some things are very, very easy to do. I guess being here in elected life, completely obtuse about if there's any controversy or ever will be any controversy. It is the greatest honor to be able to recognize esteemed veterans of Roswell. So it is such a pleasure to have you, Captain Gary Campbell, have your family here. I hope you guys will watch and learn from the lesson of your grandpa. There's a lot to learn there, and there's a lot to emulate. And it's what makes this country great, and will make it greater for generations. Follow the example your grandpa set. The next item on the mayor's report is recognition of Georgia State Representative Chuck Martin by the Georgia Municipal Association, GMA, as a champion of Georgia cities for the 2021-2022 legislative sessions. So if Representative Chuck Martin and the great people from the GMA will join me, I'd like to call forward State Representative Chuck Martin, Charlotte Davis, Deputy Director of the GMA, and Ryan Bowser-Sox, Governmental Relations Associate of the GMA, to present a certificate and read a proclamation to Representative Martin. I will share with you a bit of advice that Chuck Martin gave to me, and I think it's good advice for anybody. Chuck Martin has a distinguished career in elected service, and he gave me this piece of advice, which I would think is worthy of anybody in elected office. He said, don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to. And it's a great piece of advice, Chuck. Today, we have the honor to recognize State House member Chuck Martin as a recipient of the Champion of Georgia Cities Award by the Georgia Municipal Association. The award is given at the end of every two-year legislative term to state legislators who actively support major municipal initiatives and goals. Representative Martin earned this recognition by helping to stop legislation that would have preempted local citizens and local elected officials from regulating or restricting rental-only subdivisions. Representative Martin also championed local priorities through his work on telecommunications and rights-of-way legislation, taxation reform, and land use and zoning matters. In the Georgia General Assembly, Representative Martin serves as the chairman to the House Higher Education Committee. He also serves on the Appropriations, Budget, and Fiscal Affairs Oversight Committee, Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, and chairs a subcommittee of Ways and Means. We are also joined today by members of the GMA's advocacy team who work closely with Representative Martin on legislative matters. We greatly appreciate his leadership on city priorities and look forward to continuing to partner with him. Congratulations, Representative Martin. I know the council wants to get down here. Council, please join us. The proclamation is a fancy way of saying that Chuck Martin does one heck of a job. Oh, yes, please.
Captain Campbell. I don't want to take away time from the council, but I just wanted to thank you. I was a little bit young for the Vietnam era. I knew some people that I worked with when I first went into MSA down in Lenox, and Bob Salisbury was one of those. And when they, it's a memory that I'll never forget, when they had the wall that is now up in Washington, D.C. for the Vietnam veterans, if you remember that mobile wall, when it came down to Atlanta. Bob and I went down there, we rode MARTA, we got out, we went to that wall, and he took me to a place on that wall where he and his buddies were that day, and he put his finger on names that were just flat on that wall, but they're engraved in D.C. and remembered the day and told me the story of what they went through that day, and it was late in the campaign, and the men and the friends and the comrades that he lost that day. So we sit here today and we honor you, Mayor. It's a great tradition you have, but your grandchildren, your children, we sit comfortably here in Roswell today, and North Fulton in Georgia, in these United States, and sometimes we get fussy about little things. You know, Bob told me, and I know you know, the days, he said, I look forward to sticking my face in the mud because what else was coming over my head. And he told me what they went through that day, and he told me the hill they took only to give it back the next day because they were commanded to do so. But they did it every day, sir. and you did it every day, and I thank you. I just wanted to tell you that before you got out of here. You made it possible for us to stand here today and do whatever we do.
Well done. And Chuck Martin is the reason that the GMA has the wisdom to have Chuck Martin here with us today. And I want to say a very special thank you to the GMA for honoring Chuck Martin. Chuck Martin is a champion of municipalities. That's why he's here, and that's why we're honoring him. So let's all get a picture. Thank you, Chuck.
Covering my comments. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for seeing you in Savannah.
Yeah, we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you. Hey, it's good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week in Savannah. Yes, absolutely. We'll be there. Maybe you can help Elise. She's on Twitter. Oh, so many are. Thank you so much, Mayor. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I'm so excited because we're going to go to another item, and other people are going to talk besides me. Let's see. The last item on the mayor's report is a discussion of the 100-day plan. You can also see this 100-day plan on our website and the City of Roswell Facebook page. As you probably noticed, it's in the rotunda, and it's all, I can tell you, as I go to every department in City Hall, even the departments that are offices that are way off of City Hall, folks have got it up, which we're kind of excited about. So I will follow up with that with another announcement in a minute. But just FYI, since we are day 92 of the 100-day plan, I have asked my colleagues and respective liaisons to comment on their particular part of the 100-day plan. So I'm going to start with Council Member Peter Vanstrom, just to give us a very quick update on item 1, developing the city master plan.
Well, thank you, Mayor. We're working very hard. We've divided the city into 4 different quadrants to master plan the city. And we're moving forward as we explore those areas that are potentials for economic development and economic redevelopment. And it's going very, very well. It's given us a lot of direction that we've failed to have in the past and to chart our course into the future. So it's going to be a wonderful thing to bring to the city. So thank you.
Thank you, Council Member Peter Vanstrom. Second item on the 100-day plan, the second objective of 11 is evaluate zero-based budgeting. I'd like to ask for Council Member Christine Hall to address the evaluate zero-based budgeting.
Thank you, Mayor. And as you have mentioned in prior meetings, our Director Ryan Luckett and his team have done a tremendous job in moving to priority-based budgeting and zero-based budgeting in some aspects. The budget process had already started when we started the initiatives. So we may have a little bit of incremental in there this year, but going forward, it's basically going to be priority-based and zero-based.
Thank you, Councilmember Christine Hall. The third of 11th item is implement comprehensive financial review, also falling underneath the leadership of Christine Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is very timely because we are in budget season and the budget process. We have we're doing very, very well on this initiative. We're looking at both sides of the balance sheet, both the income side and the expense side. So we've made some great strides on both of those, and we have some RFPs out for some efficiency and other cost-saving opportunities for the city.
Thank you, Councilmember Christine Hall. Great job you've done on both of those items. The fourth item of the 11 is create a transportation commission, which falls under the purview and leadership of Councilmember Michael Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. So a transportation commission will give us the opportunity to really have some detailed resident input and analysis, similar to how we have the planning commission, for example, where they provide recommendations based on zoning requests, et cetera. So this will be a good opportunity to give some extra opportunity and time to ensure that any transportation improvements occurring in Roswell will be to benefit the people of Roswell, to make sure that it's improving our quality of life and not just creating cut-through traffic to other counties, et cetera. And with that being said, from a status standpoint, tomorrow evening we have committee, and at that committee there will be a draft for the Transportation Commission. And my hope and expectation is there'll be a great discussion tomorrow, and ultimately a draft will be approved to move forward to a council meeting. And I'm in that motion tomorrow. I will be requesting that we move it to a special called meeting next week, so that we do make sure that we absolutely have this Transportation Commission officially voted on at a public council meeting next week.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo, and thank you for your leadership on the Transportation Commission creation. Item number 5 is approve a river master plan, which falls under the leadership of Councilmember Will Mortland. Councilmember Mortland.
Yes, sir. So, River Parks Master Plan is a huge plan, and I have had the benefit of being teamed with Jeff Leatherman on this, and so I've kind of called him to the side here just to be able to provide some extra feedback. But the way that this has started was with the ASAN 1, 2, and 3 pieces of the plan. We started going into this plan and realized we had a very much needed alteration, in a word, but that is to look heavily into the dredging and mining piece of what we would be missing. And so as it stands right now, we are right in the middle of looking into the dredging and the mining of the Chattahoochee to not only provide more benefit to the overall plan, but make sure the plan is steady and sturdy for future generations. Jeff, am I missing anything?
I don't know. Councilman Mortland, number one, you're cheating by bringing Jeff up here. 2, you did such a great job explaining. I don't know if Jeff's got anything to add to that, but
Nothing to add,
let's
sir.
definitely hear it.
Nope,
Okay.
well done, nothing to add.
Well done. Thank you, Jeff. You have been unbelievable in this, and thank you, Councilman Mortland, for your leadership. The 6th item is implement the people's calendar, and I believe that falls on my colleague, Councilmember Lee Hills.
Thank you, Mayor. Many of you already know what a people's calendar is, but for those of you that don't, we are very conscious of our residents. The R in Roswell is not just a Roswell, it's residents as well. So we want to be sure that these meetings are available to everybody that can attend. Making a 7:30 or 8 a.m. meeting is near impossible many times, so we've pushed our meetings to 5 or 5:30 and are committed to making sure that everybody that wants to attend can. And of course, those meetings are also live streamed or on backlog to be viewed later.
Thank you.
We're happy to do that.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. And of course, item number 7, which is underneath also the purview of Councilmember Hills, activate the Arts Master Plan.
I am so excited about this. To quote a wonderful and recently elected mayor, great cities have great art, and this mayor and council believes that. So we're committed to doing the hard work, making hard decisions, and anticipating the growth and the master plan for this city. So we've been meeting, I personally have been meeting with Roswell Arts Fund to reactivate their beautiful plans, tweak some of them, and then also digging into some other organizations that have a stake in that game as well in Roswell. So that's our cultural arts department in the city within Parks and Rec, and they've been great and gracious to clue us in on what their needs, wishes, desires are. And we also have the Historic Roswell Beautification Project team. They've got some interest in that as well, as we're discovering the Roswell Fine Arts Alliance is another organization that can support this initiative. So this is not a slam dunk. We are not rushing into this. We have no plans of tattooing and littering up this city with whatever we can find. We're going to be very intentional with this, this mayor and council's planning, and we're going to get it as another R right as we can with buy-in from our residents. So we are very much excited about this, and we're rolling with it.
Councilmember Hills, we appreciate your incredible leadership over the last 100 days on the Arts Master Plan. It's been incredible. And of course, item number 8, I believe, also is yours, but I do see a problem there in the back that I don't know if you want to settle. I see that the police chief, Jim Conroy, and the fire chief, Joe Panino, are standing next to each other. So, but with that, we'll still announce item number 9, establish I'll let you know, establish best-in-class police pay plan, and you've been leading the charge on this, Lee, so share us with us what's going on.
This also helps balance my art brain with the professional brain, so it's exciting to move from one category to the other. I campaigned on this. It is very disturbing to think that we're losing our great professionals in our police force to sister cities. We want our sister cities to be safe and sound and respect us as well, but we have lagged behind in the pay department, and it's time to tune that up. So we have been underwater, speaking for myself, in the budget chats, and delighted to say that we are moving forward to that. We can't wait to celebrate our police force and pay them what they're due. They'll, of course, be held accountable for their pay, just as they always had. But we're tickled to death to be able to do that and provide that service, that safety, and that security here in the city of Roswell for our great residents. Thank you, Chief Conroy, for your leadership.
Thank you, Lee, for your leadership on this, on the establishing the best-in-class police pay plan for the city of Roswell Fire Department, Police Department. Forgive me, Jim. Number 9 is to establish the Oxbow Road Action Plan that falls underneath the leadership and purview of Councilmember Mike Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. So I think it's very clear to the whole community. Obviously, this is a very not ideal situation. At the end of the day, we absolutely need to make sure to get a project where we do not just have that giant hole or dirt pile there. And so ultimately, through really a lot of continued hard work in 2022 and a lot of additional steps that had to be taken to really even make sure this can get completed. And now what it's looking at is December 24th, 2023 of really having this done, and with it being set up where there's actively incentives really to make this be accelerated prior to December of 2023. So that's what's being worked on. And a big part of this action plan as well is really improving the project as well. And some different examples of how this project is improved. It involves the original plan. The original plan involved a two-way cut through into a small historic neighborhood, and that is not going to be the situation in the sense that there is going to be Elm Street is going to be a one-way. So I just want to make sure that's very clear, because that was a concern from a number of residents in the community. And as you heard me say earlier with the Transportation Commission, there's definitely a new philosophy that we need to make sure decisions being made and updates being made are to benefit the people of Roswell. And again, that involves making sure we're improving our quality of life and not just making it easier for additional cut-through traffic to other counties. And so with that, as a part of the Oxbow Action Plan, there has been a number of traffic calming measures added to both Oxbow Road east and west of Highway 9. So that improves more opportunities for pedestrian connectivity, pedestrian safety, and also just ensuring that it's really supporting really all the many residents that live within Roswell.
Councilmember Palermo, thank you for your leadership on the Oxbow Road Action Plan. I know I speak for the whole council. You've been leading the charge, and we can't thank you enough for all that you've done in all seriousness. It's made a big difference in making it happen. It's going to make a big difference to our residents. Thank you. Great job. Item number 10 is approve the Master Parks Plan underneath the purview and leadership of Councilmember Will Mortland.
All right, Jeff, I got this one. Short and sweet. We're on track to have the draft Parks Master Plan submitted to Mayor and Council by day 100.
Outstanding.
Easy to go.
Thank you, sir. I know we know that you made it sound like you've been working your tail off on it. Thank you, and we're excited about it. And excellent job, and we can't wait to get it done. Last 11 of 11 falls under the purview of the gentleman who's going to be our economic development liaison, and has been working his tail off along with Randy and his team on this last one. So I want to put the number 11 is hire an economic development director, and I'd like to pass it off to my colleague, Peter Vanstrom.
Thanks, Mayor. Things are going very, very well with the exploration for a economic development director. Councilman Moreland, I can't wait until I have my own Jeff Leatherman under the cupola to help me through these tough times of meetings. It'll be wonderful. Hey, thanks. By the way, I do want to, and the mayor did recognize our city administrator, Randy Knighton, and his team have been working so hard with our council and mayoral search team and putting in a lot of hours as we are looking at great responses, and we're looking at a number of qualified candidates, and we're still exploring our final options. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter, and thanks for all your leadership there. And Peter makes an excellent point. It's obvious, but it's not stated enough. The gentleman to my right, to your left, is our city administrator, Randy Knighton. The gentleman to my left, your right, is our city attorney, David Davidson. Back there in the back corner in the window, you can't see, she hides all the time, is our city clerk, Marley Press. And all of the other department heads are here. The assistant city administrator, Michael Fisher, the formerly noted Parks and Recs director, Jeff Leatherman, finance director, Ryan Luckett, ComDev director, Jason Gaines, EPW Public Works Director Sharon Izo, interim transportation director, and I do mean interim because he's like really temporary, is Dan Skowski. The formerly noted fire chief back there in the white shirt, Joe Panino, the much better looking police chief, Jim Conroy. But in all seriousness, these people have been amazing. Oh, well, he doesn't want us to mention him, but we'll mention him anyway. The Chief of Staff, Jamie Gazzetti, and of course, everybody here that's been on staff's been amazing. Robin, thank you for everything you do. Kathy, I know you feel. But, we don't say it much, but I can tell you inside City Hall, it's amazing. It's amazing what's going on. And it's amazing because of the leadership of Randy. Randy is... I make fun about how loud and obnoxious Randy is, and that he has a giant ego, and it just comes across, and it's overwhelms us. But Randy has been such a great colleague, and such a great part of what's going on in this city. Michael Fisher with his leadership, all the team, all the department heads, and it's just been an amazing, fun time. And I will tell you, probably the funnest part of this job, or this service, has been the engagement with my colleagues on city council and my colleagues on staff. And so this 100-day plan that we can't wait to deliver to you next Tuesday on May the 3rd is a result of a lot of work. And the council and me get up here and talk, and we take credit for this. And my council delivers a lot of credit. But I got to tell you, it sounds tried and true. It's a team effort. The staff of the City of Roswell government, underneath the leadership of Randy, is amazing. And they've heard me tell their stories. We just spent, I think, unprecedented time together. Sorry, I'm going to go on just a tad. Last week, I think we did something unprecedented in the history of Roswell. For the last couple of months, I've been meeting with department heads and the finance director, Ryan Luckett, and the amazing Lynn Williams, the budget finance person, Randy, Michael. We're in every meeting with every department head for the last 60 days, and working on zero-based and priority-based budgeting. And then the respective liaison from the council comes in there. It's amazing. We got so far ahead that we actually had a 2-day workshop for council and mayor and staff last week, open to the public. And it was amazing. It was kind of like Greenville. This incredible teamwork, this incredible transparency, this incredible integration, this incredible trust, and it's showing up in this city. I'm so excited about it, just to be a part of it, just to be a part of this wonderful team. I'm excited about the fact that we're laying out that this team has enough guts to lay out a 100-day plan. And I can't wait to share with you all the other things that this team is working on. But it is a team. And I'm so proud of everybody, and I know this is not my way. I'm not celebrating early. I just want to tell you, I wish people got to see how well this team worked together. City council, staff, it's amazing. I think you as residents would be proud and should be proud. And when you see them, send them a nice email. Send a nice email to Randy, send a nice email to Michael, send a nice email to Jeff, send a nice email even to David Davidson. Send a nice email to your council, because they're working their tails off and they're getting it done, and the results are going to show up. All right, that being said, thank you for the 100-day report. Look forward to the final piece. However, I have a surprise. There will be a special called Mayor and Council meeting next Monday, May the 3rd at 6 p.m. in regard to the 100-day plan, so we can lay it out in front of you next Monday. With that being said, I'm sorry, I promise you it says May 3rd here, and I know I screw up a lot of things, so it's Monday, May 2nd. I screwed up. Monday, May 2nd. The next item on the agenda is a department award from the Environmental Public Works Department. I'm very happy to call forward Sharon Izzo, the Director of Environmental Public Works, to present this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. This is a very exciting night for us. This is a night we get to recognize some incredible, hardworking folks that work for us 24/7, all year long, holidays, you name it, from our water utility. They're out here in the middle of the night when we have a break. They're out here on a Sunday afternoon. I just got a beautiful email from a resident who had a leak on their property, and one of our folks was out there helping him out, made the repair, and got a beautiful email back from that resident. So with that, I'm going to invite up Steve Simpson from GAWP. He is the Georgia Section Director of the American Water Works Association, and he's going to present the awards tonight to our utility folks.
Thanks, Sharon. Mayor, Council, appreciate the opportunity to be with you here tonight. It's a great day to celebrate. Sharon introduced me as the Georgia Section AWWA Director. I'm going to tell you a little bit about AWWA and GAWP. The American Water Works Association is an international, nonprofit, scientific and education society that is dedicated to the effective management of water. It was founded in 1881, so a long time ago, and the association is the largest organization of water supply professionals in the world. Our membership includes over 4,300 utilities that in the U.S. treat more than 80% of the water served in the U.S. and treat about half of the wastewater in the U.S. We have about 50,000 members of the American Water Works Association, and that spans the spectrum of operators, utility, engineers, scientists, all those that are concerned with water, which is our most important resource. Now, Georgia Section AWWA is affiliated with the Georgia Association of Water Professionals, and GAWP is a not-for-profit association with about 4,000 members, water and wastewater, in the state of Georgia. So those folks that are concerned about water resources in our great state. GAWP was formed in 1932, so again, a long time ago. GAWP actually worked on developing the first licensing program for water and wastewater operators in the state, and for the last 90 years has delivered much of the training that provides those operators with the continuing education and certification that's required. So tonight, I'm here because your City of Roswell staff, led by Sharon and Brian Watson and Chris Boyd, are doing such a fantastic job for your City of Roswell drinking water customers that I actually have 3 awards to present. The first of those is the Gold Award. And so GAWP recognizes utilities that do a fantastic job of treatment with an award program to recognize utilities that are able to achieve complete compliance with all of the Safe Drinking Water Act and permit requirements throughout the year. So the city of Roswell is being recognized for its performance in 2021. And the reason that is so exceptional is because there are so many opportunities for things to go awry, right? You miss one sample, you miss one test result that somebody forgot to take, that disqualifies you from this award. So it's a real effort that's a collaboration between the operators, lab technicians, the managers, and you as the elected officials to make sure that your staff has the resources to get the job done. So this year is actually the 25th anniversary of this award being presented, and so this award was recognized at our spring conference, and so it's my honor tonight to invite Adam Hamby and Chris Boyd to accept that award. Perfect.
This award is really for our operators at the plant, the great job that they do in recognizing. And Andy Hamby is our Assistant Water Operations Manager. Jesse wish he could be here today, but he wasn't feeling well and decided he needed to stay home. So Andy, this is in recognition to all that your team does.
Excellent. Yeah, if you guys want to stay up, we have more awards.
Sure.
We can get an award, a picture later too with the council.
Oh, yeah, they'll come.
So the second award is a recognition that the Georgia section of the American Water Works Association provides, which recognizes the best operated water plant in the entire state. This award, again, is for calendar year, so this is for calendar year 2021. This is a very prestigious award, and the city of Roswell is being recognized in the surface water category in the 1 to 5 MGD category. This is a very competitive, as you might imagine, there are hundreds of water treatment plants in the state of Georgia. So this is a very competitive award. And the way that it is established, we actually have a drinking water plant of the year committee that gets together, and for all of the eligible applying systems, they actually physically visit the facility and spend about 4 to 6 hours inspecting every aspect of plant operations. And so the benefit to the utilities is they get an evaluation from peer utility staff and consultants and operators on what kind of a job they're doing and what areas they are excelling in and what areas might be able to be improved. And so that out of a scoring system of 100 points, the margin of winning can often be 1/10 to 1/2 a point. So this is a really competitive and excellent award, and I think is a testament to the tireless efforts of your staff operating the water plant. So with that, best operated plant of the year.
So I just want to say a few words. So as Steve mentioned, this is a highly competitive award, and we look at 1/10 of a point. Roswell actually won this award by 7/10 of a point. It was that close. It's also the second time that we've won this award. The first time was in 2020. This is our second time, and we plan more. we plan to stay competing. The award acknowledges all the hard work that our water operators do to provide safe drinking water to our customers, maintain a clean and safe working environment for our facilities, maintain all the assets of the plant to prolong their useful life. And it really is an honor to be recognized by our peers on the great job that our operators are doing. But I do want to put a plug in here. this is a great time to be winning this award since next week is National Drinking Water Week, where we celebrate the drinking water operators and the great job that they do. And I would like to invite Mayor and Council, Roswell water customers, and Roswell residents to come out on May 7th, next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, to our water festival. We're going to have all kinds of things to help educate people on drinking water. We're going to have games, demonstrations, and we're also offering plant tours where you can come and tour our water plant and see what a great job the operators are doing at this time. So, Andy, you're up again. You got your
Picture.
water plant?
Let's do
Cool.
Do the last one? Okay.
All right, so you've heard a lot about water treatment, and that is certainly very important. But your water customers expect to be able to turn the tap on in their house and get that tasty glass of water. So this next award recognizes the important job that our distribution system professionals do. So I'm going to talk about the Distribution System Top Operator Award. And in the state of Georgia, GAWP divides up the geography of the state into 8 different districts. Here in the metro area, we're in District 3. And so it gives me great pleasure to announce that the GAWP district directors selected Corey Bagby, Distribution System Operator, as their top operator for 2021. So this award is conferred annually to water distribution system operators who have exemplified tireless service and excellence in what they do for their system throughout the year. And Corey has certainly been dedicated, and his exceptional performance has been recognized by his peers, both at the city and outside the city amongst his peers. So this award is actually the highest individual award that our profession gives for distribution system operators. So we're very proud of the things that Corey has done. Some of the things that I saw mentioned were his leadership of crews that are out fixing those water leaks that Sharon talked about, and his emphasis on training staff and bringing folks up to speed about how to operate a distribution system safely so that it delivers quality water. So, Corey? Excellent. Excellent. All right.
I'm just going to say a couple words about Corey. It's been an honor to work with Corey for the last 7 years. It's when he joined our utility. We stole him from transportation, and it has worked out really well. Corey came to us as an equipment operator too and quickly moved into a crew leader position. He helps to train our staff to help pass the distribution licensing exam, working with new crews and ensuring that all our programs are done on time. And I couldn't be more proud for Corey to win this award. This is a truly high honor. So congratulations, Corey.
Well, I really appreciate your honor and attention tonight. The city of Roswell should be proud of these staff that are working around the clock to provide quality drinking water. Certainly love to invite the council to come down and have a
We're going to come down and see you guys.
That'd be great.
Yeah, right here in the front.
Okay. Do you want to go on the other side?
Perfect.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Just a quick story, Sharon. So Christine, Lee, and I were at Pine Hill subdivision for the parade last Saturday afternoon. Sorry, Pine Valley. And unfortunately, the fire department there was making lots of sounds and showing off, and the poor police had one car there, and they were trying to show off their, alarms. But the water guys, the real star of the show, was a couple of weeks ago, one of the neighbors there had a blowout at 3 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. And two of your amazing people stayed there from 3 a.m. till 3 p.m., 12 hours, uninterrupted, until the problem got solved. That is, you can't say enough. I mean, that's amazing. In 2022, to have that kind of commitment from a team, that just speaks to y'all's leadership, and it speaks to the great esprit de corps that you have. Well done.
Water restored by noon. That's the other plug.
There you go. Water restored by noon. And as you probably see, everybody up here is drinking the City of Roswell water. Try it.
In a reusable cup.
Yeah, I know, Janet, I know. All right. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any comments or questions from council with respect to the consent agenda? Being that there are no questions or comments from council with respect to the consent agenda, are there any residents from Roswell that would like to speak on the consent agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Not a comment, it's a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 4.
Yes, ma'am.
This amount that we're going to pay $60,000 to Morgan Chase for banking services, is that annually? And why are we paying that much money? Are they paying us any interest? Because nobody else is getting any interest from a bank. And how much do we have in the bank, and are we getting any interest on anything?
I'm gonna pass Ryan. I think it's a good question, Janet. I'm gonna let Ryan, because we talked about this in committee, and we talked about this particular item in committee. And I think we asked you this question, and so you're probably ready to answer it.
Good, Ryan, I appreciate it. I just think that's a lot of money if it's every year and we're paying them to give them our money for free, basically. How much do we have in the bank with them?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So to comment on this, just to let you know, so we do pay, that's the $60,000 annually. Under this new contract that we have, we will see a reduction in fees for the first year, a complete waiver of all fees, and then a reduction of fees going forward. I will say also that this cost includes a lot of other services besides just depositing our money in the bank. We utilize their lockbox services to help provide greater efficiency for getting funds from our utility payers into our city bank accounts. I think that answers the question. We have typically we have about $25 million in the bank account. And that's across probably 20 different bank accounts at JP Morgan Chase. We do receive earned income credit, or not earned income credit, sorry, earnings rebate credit from the bank, and that is set to increase through this recent RFP that we went through. But as you can imagine, over the last year or two, that rate has been extremely low. because it fluctuates with interest rates themselves. And so interest rates have been extremely low the last couple of years. So hope that answers your question.
Can I ask you a follow-up question? Because I remember us talking about this in committee meeting, and I don't remember it as vividly as I'd like.
Sure.
And I remember we kept about $25 million in the bank. Is this a 5-year contract?
Yes, it is.
When we talked about what were we getting, sorry, Ryan, because I remember you answered this in committee.
Sure.
You talked about, because I asked, what exactly are we getting for the $25 million of cash that they're keeping? How did we answer that? I don't recall.
In terms of a rebate, is that what you're asking, or?
Or just alleviation of costs in terms of services?
Sure. So in terms of services, like I said, the biggest aspect of that deals with the lockbox. So we're talking, we have roughly 30,000 ratepayers on a monthly basis that we collect rates from. And so that flows through, a portion of that flows through our lockbox. So that's kind of what accounts for the majority of the cost of that contract. But on the other side of that, with the rebates that we receive, both the earnings credit as well as the P-card rebates that we receive, the city earned a P-card rebate of about $52,000 last year, and we paid about $50,000 in bank fees last year. So those two kind of offset each other. It's really based on the quantity of services that we use on a monthly basis. So it's not a set $60,000. It all fluctuates based on our balances and the cost of the services that we utilize.
With the cost of money going up, obviously that money's going to be more valuable in terms of deposits. Is there a place in the contract for us to receive a greater rebate on interest earned?
Yes, that was actually part of their response, that the earnings rebate would actually increase, but it increases with the increase in interest rates as well. So I believe through this, we were anticipating, I think the proposal included a rebate of 37 basis points, and that's net of the the bank balance based fees that we pay as well.
I got to tell you, I'm sorry, I'm picking on you a little bit. I am, because I remember talking about this in committee, and I didn't remember us moving it out of committee. So as I'm looking at it, I guess I'm surprised here to see it on the consent agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be harmful for you if we pushed this back and we reviewed this again in committee meeting? What's your contract time? Did you have a contract timing?
No, I mean, we have plenty of time.
I apologize, Ryan. It's on me because I don't remember resolving this one in my head.
Sure.
So if you'll forgive me, if you're okay, can I pull this off the consent agenda?
Sure.
Can I make a motion? Obviously, I can't make a motion on this, can I, David? So I'm suggesting to the council that I'd like some more time to consider this.
Motion to move this item off the consent agenda.
A motion made by Councilmember Christine Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Councilmember Lee Hills to pull item number 4 off the consent agenda for further consideration. There is a motion been approved. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes. Item number 4 is pulled off the consent agenda for further review. Ryan, thank you, sir. Thank you for your consideration of me on that very much. Any other comments or questions with respect to the consent agenda? Being that there are no other further comments or questions with respect to the consent agenda, we'll bring it back to council. Any other comments or questions from council? Being no further comments or questions from council on the consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Peter Van Strom, thank you. Do I have a second?
Well, it's got to be contingent upon removing number 4.
Sorry, well, consent agenda, thank you, Peter. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with, I think we already moved it. Yeah, I've already moved item number 4. The consent agenda, item number 4 is not a part of it. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion to approve acknowledged by Peter Van Strooms. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded, acknowledged by Will Mortland. All in favor of the consent agenda passing tonight, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Consent agenda is passed. Thank you. Next is the Administration and Governance Department. Councilmember Hills, will you read the administration item?
Yes, this is the approval to adopt the updated Roswell Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025. If we'll have Mr. Michael Fisher come up, please, and bring us up to speed.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. I'm going to operate here from the computer, but I do want to say that during the 2022 Mayor and Council Planning Retreat, the strategic plan was certainly reviewed. It was discussed, and there were some updates that were identified for the strategic plan. I believe the updated strategic plan for Roswell certainly is aligned with the future of the city of Roswell, the residents, elected officials, and the leadership team. So to look at the strategic plan that is up for adoption tonight, the updates, you'll see that it's very similar to the one that was originally adopted back in June. There are 7 goals. I want to talk about each one of those goals just for a minute, and also talk about the mission and vision so that everybody can be aware of what it is that we have for our strategic plan for 21 to 25. Mayor Wilson did a really good job of having an introduction and a welcome to start off with for the strategic plan. Of course, everybody's familiar with our city council members that have worked on these updates for this particular plan. Little background of the city, then we get into the vision. Now, some of the updates will be very familiar if you looked at the original strategic plan, only more to the point, maybe with a few less words, but to be very specific about what we're doing. I know clarity was something that was talked about greatly during that retreat, and our vision should be clear also, and that is to be the #1 family community in America. That is clear, it is brief, it is exactly what the city of Roswell's vision is moving forward. The mission for the city of Roswell is the same. Approach was taken for clarity to provide our citizens with an exceptional quality of life. And that is the vision that each one of us will take based on the updates and direction that came out of the retreat that you all worked diligently on to make sure that it said exactly the way you were feeling. Our core values haven't changed: accountability, communication, inclusion, innovation, trust, excellence, respect, responsiveness, and transparency, all part of our core values. So here are the goals. I won't get into all the key objectives, but for each goal there are certain things that we'll be looking at. For the first goal of economic vitality, there are 6 key objectives that were discussed. For our second goal, safest community in America. Again, many of these goals follow the same approach that was in the originally adopted strategic plan, only the clarity of what we have today gets right to the point. The goal is to be the safest community in America. The next goal is just exceptional quality of life. There's 10 key objectives that go along with that goal. The next goal in our strategic plan is to align zoning and development decisions to benefit residents. The words were very specific in that goal to be very clear of what we're going to be looking at moving forward with our zoning and development over the next 5 years. 5 key objectives go along with that goal. The next goal, improve transportation, again, to benefit residents. Very specific wording to be very clear. And there were 10 key objectives to go along with that goal. The next goal is outstanding city services. Very clear, 9 key objectives to go along with that goal. And then I believe the last goal we have is great governance. There are 3 key objectives to go with that. I will tell you, and somebody may notice that there's 7 goals here. There were 8 goals in the original adopted plan. That 8th goal, outstanding collaboration, community engagement, and customer service, is not forgotten, is not lost, is tied into the last 2 goals you saw, the great governance goal, where it talks about communication plans, seminars, and training, and in outstanding city services, one of the actual key objectives of that entire goal is fantastic customer service. So there was nothing left out, but just made a little more brief, a little more concise, a little more clear, and something I think we can all be proud of and that we can all follow with these updates. The conclusion of the strategic plan lists the people that were on the team, the people that have worked through this along with the elected officials. Thank you very much for what you did at the retreat and what you've done with these updates. And our recommendation this evening would be to motion to approve the updates to finalize the 2021 to 2025 Roswell strategic plan.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Appreciate all your amazing work, your hard work, your wisdom and discernment on helping us to put together the reformulated strategic plan of 2021 through 2025. Been a great collaborative effort, and you've been leading the charge on that. Council, do you have any questions or comments? Councilmember Hills.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Fisher. I had the opportunity in January to meet with you and have a really clear picture of what this strategic plan means to you and for the city's department heads. And these are, for those of you that don't know or might be watching, these are really the guardrails or the bylaws, if you will, for each of our departments to understand what this mayor and council has in store and goals on our end. So it sounded like, and I believed you, that you really needed clear direction, and then we all got together and were able to have a seat at the table to talk about what those are and how we can make those the most efficient. So thank you for your guidance and your leadership, and it's a pleasure to be able to come this evening with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. As I read through this, I think it really looks, I think, just more clear on really what the goals are, and really trying to make it just more of a clear handbook. And with it, by I feel making it shorter and more clear, I think it actually does a better job of really aligning all that incredible input that we got from residents when residents were providing their different concerns and opportunities, et cetera, that they see within the city. So I'm definitely happy for the opportunity to have just a very clear handbook. I certainly encourage, just anytime there's ever opportunities for improvement, anytime we can ever make anything more clear, more effective, and better supporting our residents, please be making sure to share that feedback so we can come and make any updates necessary. And of course, I'm really hoping for the opportunity tonight that this becomes the first first ever unanimous strategic plan to just really give that clear consensus to all of staff, just to know which way we're marching towards the beat of the residents' drums, and making sure that we're all working for the residents together.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo. I'm surprised that all 5 council members are not talking on this one. Okay, Councilmember Christine Hall.
And we said we were going to have a light agenda today. No, I'm very, very excited, and this is sort of the culmination of the work that went into the strategic plan, and it's basically what this needed. It needed clarity. It's a clear document, and I mean, it puts forward the vision for the residents and for the staff. So very, very exciting to support it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Councilmember Mortland, Councilmember Vanstrom, I can't talk you into saying anything. And the reason I'm coaxing them is because, okay, Councilmember Vanstrom.
I don't need coaching, I promise. I would chime in if I had anything more powerful to add than has been said. And I think this just ties into the earlier discussion of the amazing team that we have at City Hall, the staff and the direction that the department heads take in leading their departments, and they were a big part of working with us on the strategic plan as well, and are going to be carrying it forward for the city. Looking forward to working with everybody.
Thank you, Councilmember Vanstrom. Councilmember Mortland, can I coax you into this?
It's a big night tonight, isn't it? All right. No, this is being new to city politics. The strategic plan that has been brought forward is a great document for me to learn and live by and follow. So just having a great, nice, clear document is key to me being a better councilman. So thank you for putting that together.
Okay, I'll just steal a few words. It's so exciting. It was so fun actually working on this document with my colleagues on the council and the staff. We actually had a lot of fun. And what is, being a resident, becoming an elected official, when we got in here and we knew some of the documents were there, we were familiar with stuff like the comp plan and so other the UDC, and had gotten familiar with some of the stuff. The strategic plan kind of smacked us in the face. And we said, this thing's got to align with what we believe the residents of Roswell want in an overwhelming majority fashion and what we were elected to do, and that needs to be clear and simple as we can make it. So I'm tickled to death, and we really did. We had a lot of fun working on it, and I think it does give clear direction for this city. So I would say to anybody, a lot of times, because I hear a lot of times people, well, you guys didn't say this, or you didn't say that, or you didn't do this, or where'd that come from? And I would say, well, look at the strategic plan of 2021-2025 submitted by your council on April 25th, 2022. It's got some clarity in it, and it's worth reading, and it's pretty simple. And job well done to council and staff. Anybody from the public who Roswell residents would like to speak on the item of the new strategic plan for 2021 to 2025? Yes, sir. Welcome. Thank you for coming up here. Please share with us your name and where you live.
Yes, my name is Herman Haig. I live here in Roswell, over in East Roswell. And I just want to get a little clarity on the strategic planning, because maybe what I'm concerned about is under something else. This sounds more like a policy procedure that's going to guide y'all on what you need to do. But when we talk about East Roswell, where there's a lot of empty facilities, we want to find out what strategic plan you have for getting that taken care of. Is that under a different, I'm new here, so is that under a different part? Or I didn't want me thinking strategic planning was a part of what you were looking to do for us in East Roswell, and that might be in a different part.
No, it's a great question. Please stay, don't go anywhere, because I want to make sure we answer your question adequately, because I can tell you everybody here is chomping at the bit to talk about East Roswell and our development plans. Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson, and thank you, sir, for being here and coming up and asking that really important question. So the strategic plan, I see, is really just, it's the high-level strategic plan for staff to really understand on what are the philosophies, goals, et cetera, but at a really high level. And so I really appreciate that Councilman Vanstrom, who's really taking such an active role in being the liaison over economic development, is going towards that section that will bring that up. But what I'd say is there's no question an absolute priority is really economic development and strategic redevelopment on the east side, because we absolutely need a destination there. And really I think the big picture from the strategic aspect, earlier you saw for transportation. I said very much from transportation, our goal is not to make it easier for just traffic to cut through Roswell to other counties. And it's the same thing from a redevelopment standpoint. Our goal and our mission is absolutely to make sure that we're creating a destination for the people of Roswell, so that whether you're a resident of East Roswell or a resident anywhere in Roswell, that we get an incredible economic activity and an incredible destination, not just creating more traffic or just more of different things that we already have. It's creating a more really diverse, sustainable type of economy that I think will be a good thing. And so now I'd love for Councilman Vanstrom, I'll put him on the spot to talk a little bit about the economic vitality part of the strategic plan.
Okay.
Councilmember Vanstrom.
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight, and thanks for those questions. And I would like to point out, just right, if you pull up, Michael, the economic vitality section, you asked all the right questions, and we spent a great deal of time reviewing the outline for the city and our goals strategically for economic vitality. The use of all tools available for economic development. And that's all tools that we have within City Hall itself. We have Roswell Inc. that we work very closely with, and we are bringing in an economic development director, which is the next item that is on the key objectives. Bringing economic development under the dome itself, under City Hall auspices again, so that we have a lot more control within City Hall, and working with citizens like you, direct line of communication, I think will be a great asset. We also have attract and attain high-paying jobs and define target industries. I think that's a really important one, because what we are trying to do is attract business. We're trying to offset the taxes of the residents with business growth and development, and I will assure you, we are working very, very hard on that task.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't,
No,
when you were talking about.
It was a great
strategic
question.
Planning, yeah, I wanted to make sure that I was clear that that fell under what you guys were talking about.
And it does, and I hope that made it clear for you, because
it
we are
does.
working hard.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Did we answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else want to weigh in with anything else? The reason is I thought everybody here spends the council, I can tell you that economic development, especially as it pertains to the east side of 400 of our great city, is a incredibly high priority. It is talked about all the time. So being 100 days in, relatively speaking, it is something we are working all the time, and we are trying to be as prudent and wise as possible before reacting, and making sure that we're intentional in what we do in terms of development plans for the east side of our city. It's a high, high priority. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from residents? Great question. On the strategic plan, it's a big deal. We're excited about it. Council, any other thoughts or questions on the strategic plan? Councilmember Hills, do you have a motion?
I do. I motion to adopt the updated Roswell Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Mortland. All those in favor of adopting the updated Roswell Strategic Plan of 2021 to 2025, please raise your hands. It passes unanimously, and I thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Next is the Community Development Department. Councilmember Palermo will read the Community Development item.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. Item number 2, approval of a Sidewalk Cafe license, 14 Elizabeth Way, Canton Street Social. Ms. Martin?
Good evening. Thank you. I just want to say, well, Sharon's gone. Quick shout out to thank her for restoring our water in Pine Valley. So it's nice to be able to take a shower. So tonight we're looking at a Sidewalk Cafe license. The applicant is requesting Sidewalk Cafe license at 14 Elizabeth Way. There's one at the front of the building along Elizabeth Way and one at the rear fronting East Alley. The applicants are the new owners of the restaurant business known as Canton Street Social. The previous owners of Canton Street Social were issued front and rear Sidewalk Cafe licenses in November of 2020 with 5 conditions. The Sidewalk Cafe licenses at 14 Elizabeth Way were originally issued to Fix Pizzeria, and the front one dates back to 2014 and the rear one dates back to 2017. And because Sidewalk Cafe licenses are issued to the business and not the property, the new business owners must go through the application process. Miss Allison Levinson is the new owner of Canton Street Social, and she has an active Roswell business license. She's applying for the same 2 Sidewalk Cafe licenses with no changes proposed to the physical layout. Shown is the front Sidewalk Cafe that has 4 tables and 8 seats. Shows the poles and chains as required. Shown here is the rear Sidewalk Cafe that was issued to the previous owners of Canton Street Social. Members of Public Works, Transportation, and Community Development worked together. This was a tough one. It's on the newly redeveloped East Alley. We coordinated something that protected the minimum 5-foot ADA sidewalk passage. This plan has 6 tables and 22 seats. The previous owner of Canton Street Social did not install the required poles and chains, but the current owner has been advised that they are required and has agreed to install them. One of the council members asked at a legal meeting presentation for an aerial that demonstrated the connection of the sidewalk in East Alley to the new State Route 9 pedestrian beacon. We overlaid the beacon onto Highway 9, and you can see 14 Elizabeth Way marked with a green pin and red box. The existing awning that is part of this Sidewalk Cafe is also visible in this aerial. Staff recommends approval with the following 3 conditions as discussed in committee. Number 1, the Sidewalk Cafe shall be developed in accordance with the site plans marked Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Number 2, the required double chains are added to the rear Sidewalk Cafe. And number 3, that the 5-foot clearance required for ADA accessibility on the public sidewalk must be maintained. The 2 conditions from November of 2020 that are not carried forward, 1, removal of awning poles was satisfied, and 5, no amplified music was removed at the request of council at committee. Do you have any questions?
Councilmember Palermo, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. So can we go to, I just want to get, I think you've answered my question and done a very thorough job, but just so I'm sure, can you go to packet page 127? It's a picture that shows a Google Street View, which shows where the current chains are. Because basically, what I just want to ensure is we'll have more pedestrian activity coming that 8-foot sidewalk. I want to make sure that there's not going to be any disruption there. There's going to be no obstruction. And I think this picture, as long as you're telling me that actually the chains will be similar to where they're showing right now, then I think will satisfy the need. The irony is, actually, I spent a lot of time there on Sunday at Roswell Moves. I hope everybody was there. And I even took a picture with my iPhone just to show the walkway, making sure that would not be obstructed. And then this morning, I guess I was limping from 4.2 miles with this mayor and council at the Pat Tillman Honor Runner on Saturday, 19 miles yesterday with the mayor's ride. I guess I was limping, and I walked right into the desk at 8 a.m. this morning and completely cracked my screen. So I'm not going to bring it up there to show the picture I took, but it was a good one. But so are you able to? I just want to see basically this packet page 127, I believe it is. I just want to see that those permanent chains will be approximately in that same area, and if that's the case, then that gives plenty of space from that 8-foot sidewalk coming, if that makes sense.
Can you see the picture, Julie?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Thank you. For some reason, we didn't have one printed. I apologize for that oversight.
Are we possible to put my tablet, would my tablet work under that?
I think I can pull it up from you. Oh, this isn't showing on the screen, is it?
Because the good news, and everything you've described, I think by having that 5-foot ADA requirement, I think that is ultimately covering that area. Yeah, this is the picture. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've got one.
But yeah,
It looks better on the iPad, doesn't it?
it does, yeah. It's a perfect view right here on the tablet.
Oh, thank you so much, David.
And for those of you that have not used that flashing beacon, it is certainly a shorter wait than the than the other one. So it was something that definitely my family and I used a number of times going back and forth this Sunday. So see right there, so basically the 8-foot path is represented on the left where there's that little mini retaining wall. And so basically I'm wondering, when the permanent chains are going in, are they in a pretty similar location to where those little black poles are right now?
That's an excellent question. They are not. So we had some difficulty with the previous owner, who is represented in these pictures, of them using those portable bollards and kind of morphing out.
So let me rephrase the question. Those portable poles right there, is the actual place they're going to be, is it closer to the restaurant or closer to the alley?
If you see the awning,
Yep.
closer to the restaurant.
Okay,
So
that
they're
answers
gonna
my
move
question.
in towards the building.
So that's more than enough space. I just wanted to make sure it was going to be no further than where they are right now.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo, for that clarity. And so, Julie, actually, I'm glad you answered. So the poles are actually, the permanent poles when they come in, are going to be closer to the awning. Interesting.
Yes.
So you have more than 8 feet there. Looking at the scale, you need 5 for the ADA, correct?
I think this image, this Google Street View, distorts it because when you're out there, it measures to 5 feet. So I think it's a distorted view
That's
right
fair.
here. Yeah. And there's a white curb. It's on grade, on level. I forget the transportation term for it, but it doesn't step down. And so from the inside of that curb to that pole is 5 feet. It measures.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other comments, thoughts, or questions from council? Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Julie. I just have a question. We removed the condition that the awning poles, the 2 westernmost awning poles, were removed. What is supporting the awning if they have already been removed?
That's a really good question. So this awning got installed without permission, and it had after the fact review. And when we went out there, the 2 westernmost poles, which are closest to the right-hand view there, they were in that ADA right-of-way. So we had that previous owner move them back 2 feet to get that space. So the poles on that corner don't go out to the edge of the awning. They got moved slightly in. So there's still poles holding it up. It's just sort of an eave or overhang of about 2 or 3 feet at that corner.
Can I ask a follow-up question on it, Julie? Just on Councilmember. Was it the real estate owner or the previous operating owner that put in the awning? The operating owner. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Morthland.
Question on this. It is the responsibility of the restaurant to clean the sidewalks, correct?
Yes.
Okay. My only request is that since this is a new owner, that they are fully aware it is their responsibility to make sure the sidewalks are clean, especially of any kind of spilled food or drink or anything like that. That's my only request.
Council, any other questions? Is there anyone from, yes, ma'am, Janet? Question or comment?
Oh,
Okay.
Janet Russell. I'm familiar with this whole, Julie, is this yours? I'm sorry. First of all, I'm glad there's another restaurant going in there. I remember when they made the East Alley project, and we spent $1.97 million to put pavers in so Cisco Foods could drive through there pleasantly. No improvements have been made to this alley by any property owner, except this one. None, on street level. So I have a couple of questions. Most of the time, the back, somebody just asked the question about keeping the sidewalks clean. The people that own all those other restaurants that actually front onto Canton Street, that's their garbage dump back there. They don't clean anything. I don't know who owns what, but that was a private road. The city had to take ownership of it before we spent $1.97 million on it. To walk down it in the summertime is very unpleasant because you smell stinking garbage, flies, and air conditioning units. The employees sit back there to take a break and have a cigarette. So I wish these people luck with this. The 5-foot ADA compliance thing is very important. Why don't we enforce that on the restaurants on Canton Street? As their little poles eke out and out and out to the curbs. And people have to march single file past the restaurants on Canton Street. There's no arm in arm. They're like marching soldiers. It's the death march of Bataan to walk up Canton Street. Because they take over the whole sidewalk so they can eke out another couple tables. So if we're going to enforce it here, and I'm all about ADA. I worked with Clint Lavender way back when ADA was, before ADA was federal law. Roswell was on top of things because of Dr. Clint Lavender. That's why we had curb cuts before the ADA was even a federal law. But if we're going to enforce it at one place, you have to enforce it everywhere. And I want to see that done because I don't like it when I see people marching single file on either side of Canton Street. Grandma's hanging on, you know, she's got her cane, nobody can help her because the restaurants want to eke out just another foot, another foot. So I think we need to take care of that if we're going to be a welcoming place for everyone. As a person who's been in tourism for 40 years, I can assure you that those things are important. And no one enjoys marching behind each other. They want to walk next to each other. So I wish these people luck. The previous owners put up that awning and got in trouble because someone said that the trucks couldn't turn right and then turn left to go down Canton Street to deliver food. The trucks could never turn left to go down that alleyway. It's a 90-degree angle. That's why they always backed in from Norcross Street. And then the city, in all their wisdom, made it a one-way street with pavers. So I just hope that if you're going to enforce it, and you've talked about it here with these people, and I just met them, I wish them luck. I don't think you're going to see too much traffic, pedestrian traffic, from that new crosswalk. Yesterday, I saw people, here's the new crosswalk, here's the one that goes to the island on the south side, and the man actually dodged between the two, the new crosswalk and the old one, to run across against a red light, because he just didn't want to walk that extra 20 feet. So if we can make a crosswalk in 4 weeks, we can sure as hell do a lot of other things in this town that fast. I just want to remind you, the 5-foot ADA compliance is for all the restaurants on Canton Street, not just pick and choose. And they just eat their way out every single time. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Any other comments or questions from Roswell residents about the approval of a Sidewalk Cafe license at 14 Elizabeth Way? Yes, sir. Please.
We're the applicants together, Allison and I. And I don't know if it's appropriate to ask a question now.
Yeah, would you just share us with your name?
Steve Levinson is my name.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good evening, everyone.
Where you from?
So just seeking a point of clarification.
Hey, Steve.
And you're,
Steve?
yes, sir.
Where you from?
I live in Canton.
Okay, but you're the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Business owner, and my wife and I are the applicant. I did the liquor license and so on and so forth. She just happened to sign a piece of paper that day, but we're all in this together. So the question is more or less a point of clarification. And thank you all, because everybody here has been really awesome to work with. And we've made a lot of progress in a short time with the assistance of all the people in the various places in this building. We're very thankful for that. The question, I guess, is, and I don't necessarily understand, so I want to make sure that we don't run afoul of anything from day one. I understand there's some history with the property, and we want to bring some new energy and ownership there and to do things hopefully differently. So the bollards that are there now are temporary in nature. Am I understanding that we need to put permanent, or do we just need to have double chains and then we can move them in and out as the rear patio is utilized?
This is Julie. The standard requirement is permanent poles with double chains. And in the application, there is an image of them, and we also have a sample pole in the planning and zoning office that you can look at.
Okay, thank you. And that's just helpful, and we'll make sure we do that. Thank you.
Steve, thank you. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for choosing Roswell. And we look forward to the success of your business. Thank you.
I started here, Mr. Mayor, about 35 years ago, but I've been about 12 miles west for a long time.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions on the matter of the approval of the Sidewalk Cafe license at 14 Elizabeth Way? If not, council, any other thoughts? Yes, sir, Councilmember Palermo.
So, Mayor, so first of all, I want to show another picture because it's going to be relevant to a comment that was made. Let's see. Yeah, other side, please, Ms. Martin. Perfect. Thank you. So I just want to address some things that we heard from Ms. Russell, some great points. So first of all, money invested here, big purpose for it to be a pedestrian area. And so I want to point it out right here because another point that was made was regarding the minimum 5-foot ADA requirement, and any new license being requested. So anytime there's a new business and a license is being requested, then absolutely there needs to be a minimum of 5 feet ADA. And in fact, actually, I'd say that's not enough for me. And an example for that is actually was Rocking Taco, where ultimately when they came in as a new business replacing Pastis, they wanted to put up the same chains, which would have left for 5 feet, which was the ADA requirement. That, you know, I stood by and advocated that was not enough because we need residents to be safe, being able to safely walk, congregate, et cetera. Here, I am going to be supporting this tonight, and I am going to be motioning for this as staff brought forward, as the committee brought forward with those 3 conditions. And the reason being is twofold. One, the 5 feet aspect. If you look at it, that's really just covering the red part. Whereas in reality, look at all the additional space that you have right there. And the thing that I was focused on was the 8 feet that are behind Vaz Crisina, to make sure that there's a straight shot, 8 foot just walking straight, which there is with this. So even though there's only a 5 feet, if you're looking purely at the red, there's a full 8 feet if you're walking from the red brick straight on to that more grayish, brownish, whatever the part of that alley is. So I just want to be clear that I certainly agree with and hear the sentiment. And at the same time, I think this applicant has brought forward a very reasonable request. And as long as they know the rules of the city, as Councilman Northland brought up, then I could not be happier to support this and really just hope that you'll be successful. Wish you the best, and thank you for choosing Roswell. So I just wanted to mention that.
Council, any other thoughts or questions? With that being said, Councilmember Palermo, do you have a motion?
Motion to approve this sidewalk license with the 3 conditions that staff has provided here.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Hall. All those in favor of the approval of the Sidewalk Cafe license with the 3 exceptions noted at 14 Elizabeth Way for Kent Street Social, please raise your hands. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next is the Public Safety Department. Thank you, Julie. Next is the Public Safety Department. Councilmember Hills, will you please read the police item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Number 3, approval of a text amendment to Chapter 4, Article 4.4, massage establishments of the Code of Ordinances to the City of Roswell to permit and regulate massage establishments and spas. City Attorney Davidson, would you mind reading, and Chief Conroy, if you'll be on standby, please, sir.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 4, Article 4.4, massage establishments of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell to permit and regulate massage establishments and spas within the City of Roswell and for other purposes. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the City of Roswell, pursuant to their authority, do hereby adopt the following amendment. Chapter 4, Adult Businesses and Entertainment, Article 4.4, massage establishments of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell, Georgia, is hereby amended by deleting said article and replacing it in its entirety by adding a new Article 4.4, massage establishments and spas, which shall read as shown in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. And if approved, this would be the first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. I don't want to say this is exciting to bring up, but I will say it's necessary. There's a known problem across the United States, and certainly Roswell is no exception, for human trafficking and prostitution that's going on under some of our auspices of massage establishments and spas. I absolutely want every single business here in Roswell to thrive, to make money, and go home and sleep well at night. For the ones that are trying to dupe our city or our residents or use us as a vehicle for illicit and illegal behavior, I have no tolerance for that. So I just want to bring this forward, and Chief Conroy, if you'd weigh in here for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, City Council, good evening. The current ordinance as it is in place today provides us some challenges. There's loopholes and some barriers to prosecution that we've run into historically. The amended ordinance removes some of those barriers, removes some of the loopholes, and gives us some tools so we can more readily identify those offenders who are taking advantage of the loopholes, committing crimes in these establishments, and giving them all a bad name. As I mentioned at the Public Safety Committee last week, not all of these establishments are committing criminal violations, and not all of the employees are involved in these criminal violations. This will allow us to identify them, those who are in violation, hold them accountable, and prevent them from repeating these offenses.
Thank you, Police Chief Jim Conroy. Council, thoughts or questions? Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilmember Hills, for bringing this forward. I was truly stunned to find, sometimes we live in a bubble, or we're in a bubble, and I was truly stunned to learn how many of these facilities we actually have in the city of Roswell. So I'm very much in favor of this and look forward to supporting it tonight.
All right, well, I will make a comment or two. This is one of those few times where I wish the halls, the benches were filled, and that everyone understood the actions that their city government is taking, and that the leadership, that their police chief, their council members, their city administrator is taking. I remember us talking about this back before July of last year when we discovered what was going on. And Jim, you've been a leader in this and bringing clarity to it so that we can take action from a political leadership perspective. I really do. I wish this was one of those things where the residents of Roswell understood, one, that as a city, the shameful piece is that we have been in business allowing some businesses to continue to operate over the years that are participating in human trafficking and participating in prostitution. But the human trafficking, and the people, the victims of this, are the most vulnerable people with no place to turn. And it's it's unconscionable as a city to not defend those who can't defend themselves. And no more heinous a crime than human trafficking. So thank you, Lee. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Randy, for stepping up. Thank you, David, for crafting and creating very clever ordinance that gets around, I think, some of the loopholes that have created problems for prosecution. And this is going to be taken care of swiftly. I think our residents are going to be, they're obviously, they don't know, but I hope they do find out the work that you're doing, and they find out the great work you're doing. Massive credit to you, Jim. Massive credit to your team. This is the first step of a big deal. We're going to be talking about some more stuff like this over the next year that our residents need to know about, some of the stuff that's going on in our sister cities, in our city. And here in Roswell, we're going to stop some of it. And this is the first step. So I'm very proud of y'all. Thank you. With that being said, does anybody from the public? Yes, ma'am. Comment or question, Janet?
Only 4 citizens here. This is interesting, human trafficking. I don't live in a bubble, as you well know. I live in the real world. The rest of you live in subdivisions with pool and tennis. A few years ago, a spa opened at the end of my street, right on Highway 9, sharing almost a property line with the church. And I noticed that their hours were 6 p.m. and later, and that they only had male customers for, for a massage, and I'm sure every one of them had a happy ending. So I reported it to the Roswell Police Department at that time, and they took action, and it took them a couple months because apparently when they do the sting, and they did a sting, an officer showed up and requested a massage and shut them down that night. But it seems that they move, and I'm sure the chief will know that, you know it, Jim, they moved their staff all over Metro Atlanta. When they close this one, they just move to another place and to another place and to another place. My concern is, and I haven't read the ordinance, but I want to make sure that we prohibit these unreal massage parlors. We have a really good massage place right next to Amalfi that have been in business forever, and they are fabulous. It's a whole wellness place. We can't have these massage places near school bus stops. Think about it. They're not formal. There's no pole. But you have to know where children get off the buses. And we have to make sure that we don't allow these places of business to be where children get off. And that was the reason I got the attention of the police department that time, because the children from the neighborhood got off about 50 steps from this massage place. And I would go down there and make sure the children got off the buses safely. Their parents were coming and all that, but things are worse now. Atlanta's the #1 human trafficking city in America, thanks to our airport. So we must safeguard everyone, as Mayor, you've said it, the most vulnerable. They're children, they're unemployed women, they're people who've been abused over their lifetimes that have no self-worth. Some are desperate for money. But our children, we have to protect our children. And so I hope this ordinance restricts the location of these places near bus stops for children when the school buses get off, because 50 kids get off, and sometimes now they all walk they get off way down by where Clock Tower Place is, because they don't want to ride the extra bus, and they walk to the apartments. And I always make a joke, because there's like 50 middle school or high school kids walking. We don't want to ride the bus for 45 more minutes, Miss Janet. We're just going to walk down 9. I said, well, you know we have no sidewalk, so be really careful, kids. But they just want to walk home. Well, that is the perfect opportunity for someone to see these same kids walking every day down the same street. So I want to make sure that that's in the ordinance, that there is no location near where school bus stops are, okay?
Thank you, Janet. I will comment on it. I will tell you that there are a lot of pieces, and by the way, when we're talking about victims of human trafficking, we're talking about 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old women, young girls. And boys. But the answer to your question is no, that is not part of the ordinance, and the reason it's not part of the ordinance is because there are so many practical parts brought to it, is that the businesses will cease to exist. That is part of the strategy of understanding some of the failures of the past. So I can tell you there are several pieces of there, one from the licensing perspective, two from the prosecution perspective. The businesses, if they happen to be located, say, for example, near a bus stop, a school stop, they're not going to be in business very long. Let me go ahead and just be very bold about this. The commitment that I have as mayor, the commitment that this council has as the council for this city, the commitment that Randy has, and the commitment that the police chief has to the eradication of this issue is resolute and will be done. And I can say to you that a year from now, there will not exist any of these illegal spas in the city of Roswell. And I can say that confidently because this team's behind it and it's going to be eradicated. Any other thoughts or questions or comments from any residents or public? With that being said, council, any other thoughts? Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson. You stole a little bit of my thunder, but I'm still going to attempt at it anyways. So I have two comments to make. So First of all, this is something where it's actually a great example, and I'm really appreciative for really the courage of this mayor and city council to address, an awkward topic, but an important topic that leads to the quality of life and, frankly, safety and health of those that live in Roswell as well as work in Roswell. And in 2019, Councilman Zapata had actually brought this item to committee and wanting to really address this. And at that time, there wasn't majority support to address this uncomfortable topic. But I think it really is an important one, and really glad that this mayor and council is choosing to do so, because there's really a point I want to bring up that I heard from both the chief and from Ms. Russell, which is reminding that there are many legitimate law-abiding spas in Roswell that do great business and support residents, et cetera. And what this is going to do as well is it's going to make sure that everybody in Roswell and outside of Roswell knows if they want to come to a spa in Roswell, they know that they're attending one that is safe, following all the rules, and I think it will be a great perception and understanding of just a safer environment to be in. So I think it'll be a great thing. And the thunder that the mayor stole was I was going to bring up that I feel with this, which makes it much easier to be able to have the police really identify and have the right also just rules in place that a year from now there would not be the ones breaking the law, only the ones remaining being the safe environments for everyone to be going to. So again, I certainly applaud this mayor and council, and thank you for making the tough decisions.
Thank you, Mike, very much. Council? By the way, Janet, I was wrong. And it's been a little bit since I've looked at this ordinance, so I apologize. Under section 4.48, underneath general operating provisions, underneath N, there is a very long paragraph that deals specifically with real estate. And I'll read it to you. It says, it shall be unlawful to establish a massage establishment or a spa establishment in the city unless said establishment no more than 300 feet from any state route and unless 300 feet from any parcel occupied by a house of worship, public or private elementary or secondary school, public park, state licensed daycare facility, or any residence. For the purpose of this subsection, measurements shall be made in a straight line in all directions with regard to intervening structures or objects from the closest point on a boundary line of the massage establishment or spa establishment, parcel to the closest point on the state route of way, or to the closest point on the boundary line of any parcel containing a house of worship, public or private elementary, or secondary school, public park, or residence. That's N. There's R all the way through R. That's just on section 4.48 of general operating provisions. It's a pretty lengthy piece of ordinance, and the reason it's lengthy is because there's been so many holes in this kind of ordinances and legislation attempted in the past that Jim and David and Lee did one heck of a job, and Michael, or Mr. Petty, I always screw up his name, did a really good job of trying to button up all the pieces that have created problems in the past. So thank you for catching me on that, David. Michael, thank you. I'm very proud of this council, and I'm very proud of our police chief and Randy, and this is going to show up in our city. Any other thoughts or comments or questions? Okay. Well, Councilmember Hills, do you have a motion?
I certainly do. I motion to approve a text amendment to Chapter 4, Article 4.4, massage establishments of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell to permit and regulate massage establishments and spas.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Mortland. All those in favor of approval of text amendment to Chapter 4, Article 4.4, massage establishments of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Roswell to permit and regulate massage establishments and spas, first reading. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We'll now go to the City Attorney's report. Mr. David Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a contract with GERMA in an amount not to exceed $1,028,109 payable through Arthur J. Gallagher and Company for property casualty and management liability insurance for the city of Roswell for a coverage period from May 1st, 2022 through May 1st, 2023, and additional amounts of $34,274.48 for cyber insurance through Coalition, $3,613 for drone liability insurance through Global Aerospace, and $2,860 for flood insurance through Assurant, for a total not to exceed $1,068,856.48.
Thank you, David. Does council have any questions or comments for Mr. Davidson? Being that council has no questions or comments on this measure for Mr. Davidson, are there any Roswell residents have any comments or questions on this matter for Mr. Davidson? Being that no residents have any questions or comments who want to speak on this item, council, it comes back to you. Any council members would like to speak on this item? Being that no one has any comments or questions, do I have a motion? Councilmember Hall.
Motion to approve item 4.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall. Item number 3.
Item number 3, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, it is 4.
Item number 4.
Sorry, Christine.
Motion to approve the contract with GERMA.
Thank you.
In an amount not to exceed $1,068,856.48.
Outstanding. Thank you, Christine, very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hills. I have a second. All those in favor, please raise your hands. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. David, please read the last item on your report.
Thank you, Mayor. The last item I have is a recommendation for closure to discuss personnel litigation and real estate.
Do I have a motion? Councilmember Palermo. Do I have a second? I have a second by Councilmember Vanstrom. All those in favor to go to closure to discuss personnel litigation and real estate measures, please raise your hands. It passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. Being that there are no other items, this mayor and council meeting of April 25th, 2022 is adjourned. Thank you so much for being here.